What's up, everybody? Hi, Kano here. I'm a little bit tired. It's late at night. I've had a strange day involving snow shoveling, ice melt, and weightlifting, which is why I didn't stream. So we're gonna do some pre-recorded content. Going to keep the voice low because roommates are sleeping, and it's late at night. So I figured out I'm going to test out this list that I've got going on here for a mono blue Sphinx's Tutelage mill deck. Sphinx's Tutelage is a personal pet card of mine that I really like. I played it a lot in Origins Limited, where it was absolutely crazy nuts. If you got one, it could carry a mill deck. If you got two, you could win the game very easily. So I figured, why not do the best we can with it on a budget? So, Sphinx's Tutelage, whenever you draw a card, your opponent mills 2 cards, and if they share a color, they repeat the process. It also has 6 mana to loot 1 card. It's a 3 mana enchantment, so it's kind of in the range of what might be viable in Modern if you can draw a bunch of cards, which this deck is apt to do. So for the Draw Cards package, we have Visions of Beyond, which is a modern legal ancestral recall. Under the right circumstances, this card is absolutely crazy bonkers if you can put 20 cards in a graveyard. Basically, if you resolve Tutelage and draw a couple of cards and your opponent has 20 plus cards in the graveyard, you cast one of these and you will probably win the game, either by milling your opponent out or drawing enough other action that you can do something. In addition, we also have Thought Scour. It's just your standard milling cantrip. We usually target our opponent with this. Then we have Opt as our next best instant speed cantrip. Most of the deck is instant speed, except for the win conditions. We have Remand because it's a counterspell that draws a card, which is really important here. And we also have Thirst for Knowledge for our big draw spell. It's kind of the cheapest, most effective way to get 3 draws consistently. Hieroglyphic Illumination as a one-of, just to kind of round out the cantrip slot, as well as occasionally net us a second card. And Repeal, which is an insane cantrip versus creature tokens, and a general good answer just to have in the main deck. Even if you're not generating a lot of mana, bouncing a Death Shadow for 2 mana and drawing a card, frequently delaying your opponent a turn is enough. The big combo that the deck is trying to set up with Sphinx's Tutelage is Teferi's Puzzle Box, which says at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts all the cards in their hand on the bottom of that or bottom of their library in any order, and then draws that many cards. So as the draw step begins, you draw a card for a turn, and then Teferi's Puzzle Box procs. So you then put your entire hand after you've drawn a card onto the bottom of your deck and draw that many more cards. It's really useful because it gets you through the deck really, really fast. And with a Tutelage out, that's 4, 5, 6, 7 draws, which can very easily win the game. On top of which we have cantrips that we can cast at the draw step to kind of ensure that we get a big, huge draw combo going on, basically to mill our opponent out all at once. Or that's the idea anyway. Kind of as the backup plan, we have Drowned Secrets, because we are mono blue. It's not quite as good as Sphinx's Tutelage, but we are mono blue and we do cast a lot of cantrips, so we can get some big milling power out this way. And a Singleton Fraying Sanity, kind of just to test out the card. I really like the card. It might be correct to run more of, less of. It's probably got its home more in a dedicated each spell mills kind of deck rather than this deck where we're trying to set up a big combo. But I figured I would try it as a one-of, and if it doesn't work out, this should almost certainly be either another Drowned Secrets or Puzzle Box, I think. So to interact with our opponent in the main deck, besides Repeal, we do have a Singleton Echoing Truth, Remand sort of as protection, some main deck Spell Pierces just so we have the 1 mana counter and can resolve Tutelage safely on 4 mana. And Spontaneous Mutation versus aggro. This card is actually really, really important and very good. In my opinion, it's a 1 blue mana answer that does not allow your opponent to recast the threat. And I feel like for a mono blue deck on a budget, it's actually fairly decent if you dump a bunch of cards in the yard, which we do. As far as the land goes, we have a Singleton Darksteel Citadel just for the occasional we might need to pitch it to Thirst for Knowledge if we draw it, otherwise it's just a colorless land. We have Mikokoro, which is for us to draw additional lands. If Mikokoro, for whatever reason, is too expensive in the paper world or online, you can replace this with a Gyre Reach Sanitarium, though it's slightly worse. It accomplishes the same goal. And we play a couple Ipnu Rivulets just for the opportunity to mill our opponent for a few cards off of our lands alone. Then in the sideboard, for aggro, if they're creature heavy, we have Profane Memento. For when we mill, we can gain a bunch of life. If they're playing red, we play Dragon's Claws to gain a bunch of extra life whenever they're casting spells. We also have Aetherize to bounce en masse a whole bunch of creatures that are attacking us, and Displacement Wave, which I'm kind of just testing. I really like the card, and it can answer some of the more problematic permanents that aren't just creatures. Versus Tron and Storm, we have Damping Sphere, which can hinder us a little bit because we do cast more than one spell a turn usually, but I think it's going to hurt them more than it hurts us, and it's kind of necessary, especially on a budget. It's very cheap. And for our Grave Hate, we have 4 Relics of Progenitus. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take this into some 2-mans. Here's a quick upfront warning before I start the first game. The first match is quite miserable. If you don't want to watch that, I recommend that you skip ahead to about 13 minutes in this video. Thanks. Okay, opening hand with no tutelage, but we do have a puzzle box, and we do have a couple of action spells and a thirst for knowledge, so I'm going to keep this. Opponent is on the play and starts creeping Tar Pit. Alright, well, control is usually a little bit harder of a matchup, especially if this is like fairies. High tempo is going to be slightly problematic. Opponent plays a Flooded Grove. Interesting. Well, we play an island, pass the turn. Oh, this is a Growth Spiral deck, maybe? No. Okay. Opponent opts, puts a card on the bottom, draws. Opponent plays a Hinterland Harbor. This is a very interesting mana base that our opponent has. Well, let's attempt a Thought Scour. Okay, we draw an island. Island is really good. Play an island, pass the turn. Oh, they do have Growth Spiral. Opponent casts a Growth Spiral. Puts in a Watery Grave tapped. Probably Sultai Control of some kind. Opponent plays a Field of Ruin. Okay, well, we're going to Thirst at their end step. Opponent Pulse of Marasas in response for their Breeding Pool. Gain 6 life. Okay, we draw. We'll discard an artifact and discard Darksteel Citadel. Untap. We draw an island. We'll play an island. We need to play something here. Whatever we do is probably going to get countered. I think we're going to try and land Puzzle Box. I'm expecting this to get countered. There's the counter. So hopefully now that we're shields down, our opponent will be more willing to attempt things on their turn. Wilderness Reclamation. Okay, that's really bad for us. This might be like Sultai turns, and if it is, we're going to be very sad. Are we getting Nexus? Like the one card we can't beat? The one time you try and mill somebody and they play the unmillable deck. Oh my gosh. Teachings for Nexus of Fate. Maybe that's the deck I should be playing. Okay, so I don't normally do this while editing, but I'm bored to tears watching the rest of this game, and I feel like if I'm bored editing it, you guys are going to be bored watching it. There's no real interesting interplay. There's no clever mill segments. We mill our opponent a few times, they mill Teachings, they get more Nexuses, they go infinite, and that's the game. We don't get to take any meaningful turns or make any meaningful plays, so I'm going to go ahead and jump cut to the next game. I think Damping Sphere is reasonable. Relic's okay. Like I said, we're not really going to be able to interact with our opponent too much. We don't have more counter spells on the side. We're going to drop our Opt and a Visions of Beyond. We're going to go down Puzzle Boxes, because they basically don't do anything here. Try it like this. We'll keep this. We have 2 spells that will interact sort of with what our opponent's doing. At least they will not be able to Logic Knot us with this Relic online. And Spell Pierce is sort of a thing. Opponent shocks in a Breeding Pool, passes the turn. We play an island, pass our turn. We're going to make him exile the land, because that's really important. And we're going to Spell Pierce this, so we have the option of cantripping and cracking Relic if we need to. Or Remand. Plays a Tar Pit. Passes the turn. We untap, make him exile, play another Relic. Pass the turn. When it plays a Drowned Catacomb, we'll pass. We're not doing anything right now. We draw a Thought Scour. Okay. Pass the turn. Okay, at our opponent's end step, we'll Thought Scour him. Make him exile. Make him exile. Untap. We draw a Thirst for Knowledge. We'll play a land. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Polluted Delta. Finds a Breeding Pool, tapped. Finds another Polluted Delta. We'll make him exile. We are going to Thirst. Opponent is tapping a lot of mana for a Fracturing Gust. On their end step, we will remand it. Okay. Opponent cracks Polluted Delta and finds... They could have a Spell Snare here. It's actually quite likely. Dispel. Okay. Well, Fracturing Gust resolves. We draw 3 cards, and we dump... Well, second verse, same as the first. From here we do mill a few cards, but once again it only really ends up accelerating our opponent and thinning their deck so that it's only Nexuses. We don't have any way to force them to exile them from their hand or counter them in any meaningful way. Our one true counterplay to this deck, which is extremely unlikely, would be for them to have 0 cards in their library at some point and for us to have a Mikokoro. Unfortunately, we only run 1 and that never happens. So without further ado, I'm going to jump ahead to the next match. Yeah, we were not getting there anytime soon. Okay, Budget Mill. Let's go. Sure. One thing that's nice about this being a deck with so many cantrips is it's kind of a Xerox deck. Like, it's going to roughly cast the same spells every game because of how much card selection it has. Opponent starts Hallowed Fountain tapped while we opt. Island to the bottom. Draw an island. Untap. We draw Sphinx's Tutelage. Okay, well that's good. Play an island, pass the turn. Play mind games with our opponent. Make them think we have something. We would really like a Spell Pierce off the top. Another Tutelage. Well, another Tutelage is good. We're going to pass for now. See if we can't get our opponent to counter this Thirst, maybe. We Thirst for Knowledge. Discard land, land. Untap, we draw Island. We'll play an island. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Ghost Quarter. We untap, we draw Ipnu Rivulet. Play an island, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Hallowed Fountain tapped. We untap, we draw Mikokoro. Play an island, pass the turn. Plays a Colonnade. Play an island. We're just gonna wait. we're going to wait until we can resolve one Sphinx's Tutelage. And see if we can get our opponent to cast a Planeswalker or maybe animate Colonnade. Opponent Spreading sees a Ghost Quarter to draw a card. They want more blue mana. We draw Spontaneous Mutation. Play me Kokoro. Pass the turn. Opponent plays another Colonnade. Draw at the end step. Draw an island. Opponent discards a path. We untap. We draw Spontaneous Mutation. Play an island. If our opponent's not going to propagate a threat, we're fine here. Okay. Opponent gains 4 life with Blessed Alliance. Untaps. Plays a Flooded Strand. Cracks Flooded Strand. Finds an island. We draw Thought Scour. Play Rivulet. Opponent plays Jace. Blesses Jace. Alright, it looks like this might be our opportunity. So let's Thought Scour. We draw Remand. That's pretty good. Activate Mikokoro. Draw Puzzle Box. Okay. Untap. We draw a second Puzzle Box. Okay. So let's play Tutelage. Opponent remands. Sure. Play Tutelage. Opponent remands. Sure. Play Tutelage. It resolves. Perfect. Pass the turn. Discarding a Spontaneous Mutation. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand, cracks Flooded Strand, finds an island, plays a Detention Sphere. Well, we opt. Island to the bottom, Tutelage trigger, mill 2 cards, mill Snapcaster and an island. Opponent Detention Sphere's Tutelage. Opponent pluses Jace. We untap, we draw Echoing Truth. Let's cast Tutelage. Opponent remands. Sure. Cast Tutelage. Tutelage resolves. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Glacial Fortress. Blesses Jace. Ghost Quarters Mikokoro. We'll float a colorless. Get an island. Opponent fires up Colonnade. We opt. Drown Secrets. I'll put that on top. That's a must counter. We mill a Calciform Pools and a Snapcaster. Let's Spontaneous Mutation this Colonnade. Maybe we can get our opponent to Cryptic, and if so, this remand and subsequent chain of events is going to be amazing. Alright, so we take down Colonnade for a turn. We untap. We draw with Tutelage. Opponent mills twice. Okay. Let the fun begin. Cast Ground Secrets. Opponent Spell Snares. Okay, good. Cast Echoing Truth. Okay, Detention Sphere leaves the battlefield. Cast Thirst for Knowledge. This will draw a counter. Oh my gosh. Mill our opponent for so much. Play an island. See if we can't just win with the Fraying Sanity kill. Opponent goes for the last minute mana leak. Visions of Beyond in response. Miller opponent out. That was pretty sweet. Oh, we did nothing for a million turns and it felt amazing. So bring in relics. And I think that's all we bring in. Let's see. Drop a puzzle box. Drop one Visions of Beyond. We'll cut Hieroglyphic Illumination. Oh, wait, what am I saying? What am I saying? No, Hieroglyphic Illumination stays in, and we cut 2 Spontaneous Mutations. Right, like this. We'll keep this hand. Really just need to draw a couple lands. Opponent starts Celestial Colonnade. We start Relic. We did not see... Okay, that's good. So start Opt. See if our opponent will blow a remand on this. They do. Okay, make him exile the remand. Play an New Rivulet. Pass the turn. That was a really lucky draw on the land there, but, you know, I'll take it. Opponent plays a tap land. We opt. Spell Pierce. We'll keep Spell Pierce. Untap. We draw another Spell Pierce. Well, we opt. Relic to the bottom. Draw Tutelage. Pass the turn. Hold up Spell Pierce for a Planeswalker, maybe. Opponent plays a tap land. Passes. We untap. We draw Thought Scour. Thought Scour our opponent. Opponent has Leyline of Sanctity. Okay, well, we've got a discard, so we'll discard Spontaneous Mutation. Opponent plays Jace. We attempt to Spell Pierce Jace. Opponent has Dispel for the Spell Pierce. Make him exile. The exile of planes. Okay, Jace resolves. Would like to draw land. I think we do this. I want to put Spell Snare in their hand. Alright, we identified the correct spell. Alright, well, we really need to hit a land. There's a land. Finally. Alright, pass the turn. When it plays a Tectonic Edge, blesses Jace. Passes the turn. We untap. We draw land, play the land, pass the turn. Opponent activates Tectonic Edge. So we sack the desert to mill him for 4 anyway. Opponent mills Surgical Extraction, Path to Exile, and Rest in Peace. Oh. Opponent does not know how this interaction works. We will nuke the grave to counter Cryptic Command. Because Cryptic Command no longer has any legal targets, it is countered and our opponent does not draw. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand, cracks Flooded Strand, and finds an island. Okay, Sphinxes Rever the lands. Opponent takes Plains and Island. They don't want the draw spell. Interesting. We'll play an island. So we know 2 cards in their hand are lands. They wasted a Cryptic, so we'll try and resolve a Tutelage here. Opponent has a remand. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. Blesses Jace. We untap, we draw. An island. Play an island. Attempt to play a Tutelage. Opponent negates. Sure. Opponent plays a land. Blesses Jace. We untap, we draw. An island. Play an island. Pass the turn. So this turn, I think we're going to attempt to resolve a Thirst for Knowledge. Opponent has a Vendilion Click. Okie dokie. Opponent takes a peek at our hand. If our opponent has another Surgical, they might not take Tutelage and Surgical us on our next draw step. In that case, they would throw away one of our counter spells instead. Which would be really sad. It's not impossible to win from that point, but it makes it very hard. Opponent throws away Spell Pierce. Okay. It is likely they have another Surgical, or they feel that they have enough counter spells for Sphinx's Tutelage. Okay. Put Gideon in his own pile. Opponent takes Tech Edge and Rest in Peace. Gets in for 3. We take it. At their end step, we Thirst for Knowledge. Discard an artifact. Thirst for Knowledge. Discard an artifact. Untap. Go to draw. Okay, play a land. Tutelage. I think we let this go. Play a Drown Secrets. Opponent has a Spell Snare. Okay. Spontaneous Mutation. Okay, that one works. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Tech Edge. Probably plays Big Gideon. Elspeth. Plays a big ol' Elspeth. Blesses Gideon. Blesses Elspeth. We untap. We draw. A remand. Perfect. Play Tutelage. And it resolves. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Colonnade tapped. Blesses Jace. Pluses Elspeth. Attacks, attacks, attacks. Okay, no blocks. We attempt a Thirst for Knowledge. Opponent mana leaks. Okay. We untap. We draw. Tutelage triggers. Save targets always yield. We're up to 9 cards in graveyard. Opponent has 3 cards in hand, one of which we know is Big Gideon. I think we pass. Opponent takes Snapcaster Mage off of Jace. Casts a Rest in Peace that prevents multiple mills at a time, but it also shuts off their Snapcaster. Yeah. We're okay with that. Kind of sucks because Visions of Beyond becomes a draw 1 at all times, but fires up a Colonnade. Oh shoot, it also makes Vendilion Click an actual threat. Okay, well we have to repeal Vendilion Click to stay alive. Take 10, go to 1. Thought Scour our opponent. Tutelage trigger. Visions of Beyond. Tutelage trigger. Untap, we draw. Tutelage trigger. Play an island. We have to loot with tutelage. Oh, we're so close. Oh, those 4 lands in a row. Alright. Maybe we should have saved a cantrip to try and do a remand chain on. The worst thing our opponent would have been able to do is click us in the middle of it, I guess. So that was probably a play mistake on my part, but oh, so close. Well, we know they have Rest in Peace, and Spontaneous Mutation is not that useful anyway. I think I would rather just be able to cycle. Try it like this. Sure, we'll keep this. Play an island, pass the turn. Opponent plays a tap land. Start Thought Scour. We draw Fraying Sanity. Untap. Draw Spell Pierce. That's really good. If we get a 4th land, we can play a Tutelage or a Fraying Sanity and hold up Spell Pierce. There's the 4th land. So play an island to pass the turn. We're just gonna wait. I think we're gonna wait as long as we keep drawing lands. I think next turn we'll try and run out Fraying Sanity. Opponent attempts a click. We'll remand it. I don't want him having this much information this early. When it Spell Snares remand, I think, yeah, we're just going to do this. because we have the ability to resolve at least one of our combo pieces next turn. And if we get clicked at the draw step, that means our opponent is only going to have one counterspell available. Okay, play Tutelage. To my surprise, that resolves. Opponent probably has a detention sphere at the ready for it. So in that case, we're going to play Drowned Secrets. Opponent mana leaks the Drowned Secrets. We will not pay for that. Opponent's going to click us again. They almost certainly throw away Fraying Sanity. If they do, we get a Tutelage trigger, which is nice. Okay, we draw a Thirst for Knowledge, Tutelage trigger, we mill an island and a plains. Opponent plays a Colonnade. Gets in for 3. We take it. Untap. And draw. Another Sphinx's Tutelage. We'll play an island. I think we have to do this. Yeah, the upside is if our opponent tries to like Cryptic Bounce or play anything on their turn, we're going to Thirst for Knowledge, and I think our opponent is trying to get us to play heavily into a Cryptic or something. Or, I mean, a Detention Sphere. So opponent Sphinx's Revelations. We're going to fire off Thirst for Knowledge and get 6 Tutelage triggers. We'll discard a Relic. Opponent mills so many cards. And I think we'll Spell Pierce the Revelation for good measure. Oh man, that was disgusting. I love it. Opponent probably has Detention Sphere though. Okay, sure. Has a ley line. Okay, that's not good. We need to draw an Echoing Truth or Repeal to deal with that. Relic is not quite as good. So play Relic, and play Tutelage. Now the game is on. Opponent is going to try and kill us as fast as they possibly can. Okay, so the difference in draws here is minimal. So if we untap and draw a Ancestral Visions, or Visions of Beyond, excuse me, it will be an Ancestral Recall, which is better than cracking Relic now. Okay. We didn't get it, so we have to nuke the graves and draw a card. Oh, it was one draw too deep. Draw a card. Oh man. Oh no. It looks like we're dead. Oh, what a way to go. We were so close. If our opponent didn't have the hard cast ley line, we'd have had him. This is a pretty decent hand. We'll keep. Opponent starts Elf. We start Island. Pass the turn. Wooded Foothills. Is this land destruction? If it is, we have an indestructible land. Blood Moon. You can have a Blood Moon. I think it does absolutely nothing to us. It turns off Mikokoro. Turns off Rivulet, technically, but those probably aren't going to make or break us this game. I'm going to play a Windswept Heath. Acid Moss. Remand Acid Moss. Draw an island. Pass the turn. Untap. Play an island. Opponent's got nothing better to do. So we'll spell pierce. Opponent plays a land. Passes. We untap. We draw island. Okay. Play land. Pass the turn. The longer this goes, the better our chances, I think. Opponent plays a Utopia Sprawl. Name's green. It's in for 1. We take 1, go to 19. Okay. Thirst for Knowledge at their end step. Draw 3 cards. Discard Darksteel Citadel. Untap. Draw an island. Play an island. Pass the turn. We could repeal the elf, but I don't think it's necessary. At least not yet. Opponent gets in for 1. Takes us to 18. We'll repeal the elf just to get another draw. We get a Teferi's Puzzle Box. We are definitely not playing that yet. Play Tutelage. Pass the turn. I've got a very good feeling that Teferi's Puzzle Box would get abraded, or if we play it before we got a Tutelage, we would almost certainly lose to a our opponent just wheeling into really good finishers like Inferno Titan or Stormbreath Dragon. Okay. We draw with Tutelage. Opponent mills a Tracker and a Windswept Heath. Play an island. Still going to wait on this puzzle box. Opponent does not attack. Interesting. Goes to Stone Rain and Island. Sure, we have enough lands at this point. Just do the old cantrip train. Untap. Draw. Play an island. Play Drowned Secrets. Pass the turn. Yeah, we're going to completely destroy our opponent with these Visions of Beyond. Opponent plays a Tireless Tracker. Plays a land, gets a clue. Plays a Chandra, which we will Spell Pierce. Mill our opponent. Okay. Spontaneous Mutation Tracker, just so that we can get enough cards into the graveyard to turn on Visions of Beyond. Ancestral Recall and mill our opponent for 2. We will opt. Mill our opponent for 2. Okay, cool. We got there. Alright, so for land destruction. Hang on a sec. Gotta look up Damping Sphere versus Utopia Sprawl. Okay, Damping Sphere does not work versus Utopia Sprawl. That makes sense. I think we want Displacement Waves, maybe Aetherize. Displacement Wave for sure. I think we'll drop 2 puzzle boxes, as they don't really affect our opponent's plan very much. Okay, we'll keep this hand. Opponent plays a forest. Plays birds. We untap. Play an island. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest. Stone rains our island. Well, we will spell pierce. Gotta keep this island around for a bit. Untap. Draw me Kokoro. Play an island. Pass the turn. Stone rain numero dos. See if we can hit spell pierce. Our other one. That'd be really sweet. Island to the bottom. Draw Thought Scour. I'll Thought Scour our opponent. We get a Drowned Secrets. We will definitely cast that. One plays a Windswept Heath and passes the turn. We untap and draw Repeal. Play me Kokoro. Play Drowned Secrets. Pass the turn. We're doing it this way to protect our Rivulet if our opponent thinks to cast Blood Moon this turn rather than just a land destruction spell. Opponent plays a Huntmaster of the Fells. Okay, makes a dude. And passes turn. We untap, we draw Drowned Secrets. We'll play Rivulet. Play Sphinx's Tutelage, Drowned Secrets, and mill our opponent. We mill a Plains and a Bonfire of the Damned. Huntmaster does not flip. Opponent gets in for 4. We take it. Go to 16. Opponent passes. Flips Huntmaster into Ravager of the Fells. Pings us for 2. We draw. Remand. Sphinx's Tutelage trigger. Mill 2 forests. Well, let's Mutation Ravager. Pass the turn. We don't want it flipping back and forth while we can avoid it. So if our opponent wants to flip it, we're going to make them cast 2 spells. Opponent gets in for 2. We're going to take it. Opponent plays an elf. Plays a Scavenging Ooze. Okay. Repeal the token. Mill our opponent for 2. Draw a card. It's a second Tutelage. Mill our opponent. Untap. Ravager flips. They get another token. We draw Thought Scour. Can we stay alive? Can we kill our opponent? We could mill our opponent for 2 and then get 3 Tutelage triggers. That's not going to be quite enough. Let's Thought Scour and see if we can't hit a land. Okay, it's our other pain land. Opponent can eat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures. If they have 5 creatures, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures. It'll be 1, 6, 9, Oh, yeah, it's going to be kind of close. Okay, opponent gets in for 7. We will not declare any blocks. Okay, opponent eats another guy. Eats their last guy. They're up to 9 damage. If our opponent has a bolt, we're dead. No, I don't think we saw any bolts last game. Okay. I think they were going to plan to kill us with Huntmaster. Discard land. And a remand. 3 tutelage triggers. Oh, they do have bolts. Untap, we draw. Remand. I don't think that does it. Play an island. Play a drowned secrets. Activate Mikokoro. And displacement wave. This is a draw too late. A little unfortunate, but okay. Our opponent has more creatures than we anticipated, so I think bringing in Profane Memento here is going to be okay. And I think Aetherize is also going to be fine. We're going to drop the last puzzle box. I don't think we're going to use it. I think we're going to get rid of Fraying Sanity. This is not quite good. It's not quite great. We have other cards that are good. I'm going to cut 2 cards. We'll cut a Visions of Beyond. Opt. Try like this. The good news is we're on the play. Alright, cool. We will keep this hand. Opponent keeps a 7. Play an island to pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest and a dude. Well, let's Thought Scour. We mill Arbor Elf, Stone Rain, and draw an island. Untap, we draw. Kind of hoping for a counterspell. We didn't get a counterspell. So I think we're going to play a Drowned Secrets here. Start the milling early. Opponent probably has some kind of a Stone Rain here. Oh. Okay, yeah. No, they still got it. Stone Rain's an island. We untap. Draw Hieroglyphic Illumination. Just now realizing the little bit of anti-synergy that has with Drowned Secrets, the non-bow. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills, has 6 mana. Fetches and shocks in a Stomping Ground. That's 6 mana for a Worm Coil Engine. Okay, well, let's Thought Scour. Mill our opponent. Cycle Hieroglyphic Illumination. Untap. We draw Visions of Beyond. So we play Tutelage, mill our opponent. If we can play second Tutelage into Visions of Beyond, untap Thirst for Knowledge, that might actually kill our opponent. That is, unless of course our opponent wolf runs us to death. I think we need Echoing Truth to survive. No blocks. Opponent does 6. If they don't do anything else, they should have wolf run. Opponent plays a Scavenging Ooze. Okay. We untap, we draw. Mill him with Tutelage. Play Rivulet. Okay, quick math. So 1. Okay, so that's enough to activate. Then they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They can make 12, but they can't eat any guys, so that's not quite lethal. So we'll play Tutelage. Mill our opponent. Pass the turn. If they have land Bolt, they have enough damage to kill us. Actually, I think just a land does it. Oh, never mind. They can store up damage on the Scavenging Ooze. What the heck am I saying? Not that we can interact with this, but see if our opponent identifies the line that kills us. We'll cast Visions of Beyond for fun. We draw a Remand. And lose. Alright, so what do we learn about this deck, as Saffron Olive would say? This deck has potential. It's not fantastic. It's good. I think it's decent. I think it's decent, is how I would describe it. I would play this deck at an FNM if the store had all the cards and I had $100 on me and didn't have any cards. I would buy this deck and play it. I think it can use some tweaks. I think if I expanded the budget a little bit, it gets a lot better. But as far as trying to abuse Tutelage on a budget, I think it's fair. I think its matchup versus control is pretty fine, as evidenced by our match against control. I think if I played slightly differently, I could have won. But I am a very, very tired human being right now, and like I said at the start of this, just kind of playing this to have fun. We might need better counter spells. We do dump a bunch of spells into our own graveyard, so perhaps we should be running a Logic Knot instead of Remand. Maybe Spell Pierce isn't good enough to be playing in the main deck. We definitely need something a little more powerful versus aggro, though I'm not sure what exactly that is. We can get to 4 and 5 mana pretty frequently, so maybe instead of Aetherize, we run Aether Spouts, or more Echoing Truths, Engulf the Shore, Devastation Tide. I probably wouldn't run Devastation Tide. We could be running more artifacts for Thirst for Knowledge, at least in the main deck, though I'm not sure which ones we would run. I would not run any more colorless lands than what we already have. I think Fraying Sanity is kind of cute. I really like the card, but I don't think this is the deck for it, unfortunately. So I would probably cut the Fraying Sanity for another Drowned Secrets, or a Psychic Corrosion. I would not play Jace's Erasure, even in a budget deck. I don't think it's powerful enough. Actually, I wonder how expensive that card is. If it's not too much money, I would say Copy Enchantment, but from what I recall, I think Copy Enchantment's only been printed once, and if that's the case, it's probably really expensive. But I think this deck has potential. I'm really sad we didn't get the Teferi's Puzzle Box combo. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed watching me play this. If you like my content, please subscribe. If you want to catch me live on Twitch, follow me at twitch.tv/KanoYugoro. And I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.